Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. Today's topic is all about why you live in people's minds rent-free. So why are people obsessing over you, giving all their thoughts and attention towards you? Why can't they get you off their mind, or why are you taking up so much space in their brain? We're going to be getting into all of it. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. Basically, you're going to see which of these cards is sticking out to you, calling your name, drawing your attention in towards it. And then as soon as you make up your mind, just scroll down to the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump right into your pile. By the way, if you like how I read tarot and you want to see more of it, be sure to head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. There are over 150 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon. I have readings like what your boss and coworkers think of you, a friendship reading, the part of you you're afraid of, Delulu check, and what they think of you but is forbidden. There are so many juicy topics for you to choose from. Like I said, over 150 exclusives. And then you also get to be the first to watch all my YouTube videos. They always go up over there first before they go on YouTube. So if that sounds good to you and you want to join me on Patreon, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description, and I would love to see you there. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want to be focused on tarot, astrology, channeling, mediumship, a combination, whether you would like it to be one-on-one on Zoom or pre-recorded, you get to really customize your time with me, so it's the perfect session for you. If that sounds good, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So I'm excited to get into that, guys. If you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need, but we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey pile one, welcome to your reading. Let's get into your cards and see why you live in people's minds rent-free. Why does pile one live in people's minds rent-free? Okay, we got the thinking man, cornucopia, ooh, door to value. So right off the bat, people are assuming you're going to make a lot of money. I feel like with this, excuse me, my childhood lisp is popping out, the thinking man card. I feel like a lot of that is you guys might go against the grain in some way. You seem smart, you seem well-spoken, and you also don't seem like you fit in a way. Like you don't seem like someone who is just trying to get everyone's approval, going along with the crowd. Like you really seem like someone that like thinks for yourself, and you're kind of a vanguard, a visionary, someone who is like a maverick and doesn't go with the flow, isn't just trying to like be quiet and do what everyone else is doing and wear the same trends or do the same things. Like, you know how sometimes there's an entrepreneur that pops out and they just make like $1 million, or they start a business and it's so successful? I feel like you kind of give off that vibe. Like you give off a vibe of someone that, I'm hearing that Miley Cyrus song, Can't Be Tamed, and also like can't really be controlled. Like you might be that person where you point out when something is not working, like in a group setting. Like if your coworkers always do something that's really inefficient, like they always use this one software program that makes a million mistakes and it takes time to correct or whatever, you might be that person that's like, why are we still using this software program? Like maybe we should switch how we do this, or maybe we should just do it by hand because we're paying a lot of money for this program and it doesn't even work right. And it might not seem like a big deal to you. You might be like, well, don't they want to know so they can switch the system? But I feel like a lot of people end up very like feathers ruffled by you, because it's almost like they expect you to just go along and conform with authority and not really look too deep. Whereas I feel like you have that mind that you see the problems and you see what's not working, and like you're very smart in a way that honestly kind of triggers people and upsets them, because maybe they were like really happy with it. You know, Spirit just showed me like this image or this scene in my mind, and it's like, imagine you cooked Thanksgiving dinner or something, but right now I'm obsessed with like this Momofuku chili crunch. I don't know, it's very popular. Maybe some of you guys have tried it and it's so good. And I know it was made by, I think it was David Chang who started Momofuku, and he's like a acclaimed chef. So anyway, for this metaphor, imagine you make Thanksgiving dinner and like a very famous chef like David Chang, who is like known for being kind of like new flavors, visionary, very intense flavors, shows up at your Thanksgiving and is like, maybe everyone else in your family before would gas you up like, oh, the turkey's really good. What kind of seasoning? Oh, just the seasoning from the box. Oh, you just put some rosemary and thyme on it. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's so good. And everyone's like they mean it when they say it and they are impressed. But then like David Chang is there and you can just see like he's maybe, biting his lip and he's not really super enthusiastic about it. And maybe he even says like, oh, well, you could have used this spice or you could have used that. And he's like a world acclaimed chef. So it's like you can't even discount him and be like, oh, he's just being a hater. Like that would probably bother you. That would probably leave a bad taste in your mouth. I know that's a funny metaphor, but that's what I'm seeing is like someone they made it what they thought was a good dinner, and then like a famous chef shows up and suddenly is like, that's wrong, that doesn't taste that good. Like you would probably be pretty bothered by that, And I feel like that's an energy you sometimes bring. You do have this commanding vibe around you where people kind of know that you see through them or that you're very intelligent, you're very incisive. You don't come off like a dummy. You don't come off like someone that, is criticizing, but you don't really make any sense. And like can just like write it off and be like, oh, whatever, this person's crazy. You come off like someone that sees very deeply into things. And so I feel like that really upsets people. You might also have a grace about you, like a presence to you. You might carry yourself in a way that suggests like good breeding, good manners. Like you've been very cultured or elegant in some way. You seem educated. And again, I feel like sometimes that irritates people. Like if they feel like they're not super confident with their manners and they feel like you have excellent manners or your vocabulary is really large or just the way you carry yourself, I just keep getting some people kind of think you're better than them, or that you're judging them. Like they think you must be judging them, and it really irritates them and gets under their skin. Again, I feel like you also just don't go along with the party line. You are someone who will like speak up or be like, I don't like how this is being done, or I think this is stupid, or let's try it this way. And a lot of people who are just complacent and kind of want to do the bare minimum, and maybe they felt really good with themselves before. Maybe they felt really happy about it. Like I was just talking to a friend of mine and they were at this company. They were kind of trying to get this promotion or whatever. And it would be in like this certain division. And anyway, the person from the division, the head was like, oh, we can't do that for you, blah, blah, blah. And they found out from someone else, like, oh no, that space is still open. They could have hired. They had said like, oh yeah, there's not enough space, and we'll get you in later. And they found out later that someone else, like one of their coworkers, told them like, no, they could have. They definitely had room there. And anyway, um, they were like, I just don't get it because they complimented me so much and like I get along with everyone there and like I'm doing a really good job. And I was like, yeah, because they're a hater. That's what it is. It's like so many people, they don't want to see someone succeed. They don't want to see someone younger than them succeed. They don't want to see someone that's like a star, that's good looking, that's, handsome or attractive or beautiful. They don't want to see anyone who is like really going to succeed so well and like all the bosses love them and everyone is saying like, wow, this person's so charismatic. They don't want that. They want to be able to like make their money, have it be on their level, have everyone around them thinking they're doing okay, and when you're there you prove a contrast, and they don't like that. They don't want to have that around. So that's why a lot of times people actually do get screwed over. It sounds like delusional cope, but like I know this person. Obviously, I know that they make a good impression, and that they're well spoken and whatever. And I was like, no, 100%. It is truly jealousy. It sounds crazy to say that when you're talking about yourself, but like, it's true. It is something that absolutely does happen. Is people don't like when someone is really exceptional. And I do feel like there's a little bit of a vibe of that coming through, even with this cornucopia, door to value, the two financial cards from this deck. I really feel like people see you as having the potential to earn money, possibly as well, that you came from money, that you came from wealth. But really what I'm seeing is spirit focusing on the future for you. it's more like they think you have this potential to do well. They have that you have this bright light about you and that you could be, wow, this person could end up being such a success. And I feel like people kind of subconsciously want to tamp that down with you because yeah, they don't want to have to like tell the people in their life like, oh yeah, that friend, well yeah, their business is doing really well. No, they're making millions because they don't want to have that contrast. They don't want to have their wife ask them like, well, why aren't you earning millions, or their parents or whatever, whoever's around them. So yeah, I feel like there's this jealousy, kind of inferiority complex that you bring out in people. I actually feel like Spirit is wanting me to try a totally different deck. So let me move to this deck. Oh, this is a past life deck, so we'll see how it applies to you guys. But this is what I felt like Spirit was saying to you. So why does pile one live in people's minds rent free? Leadership, person of authority, Archangel Phanuel, optimism, hope. Okay. This one is passions and interests, hobbies, sports, favorite pastimes, abandonment, feelings of unworthiness, rejection. I feel like you low-key bring up feelings of abandonment in people. Like it really is that deep. It really is that deep that like sometimes people literally feel like you're rejecting them because I think in a weird way, pile one, people put you up on a pedestal and they like think of you as either smart or cool or intelligent. And it's almost like they assume you're not going to like them. It's like I have heard girls talk about attractive men, and this is one of my pet peeves. Like, girls will stay getting dogged out by ugly guys because they have this mentality, and they will say it all the time. Like, oh, well, if I date that guy, he's too hot and he's gonna have lots of girls after him. So they think they're safe dating a guy that's like way less attractive. And then of course the opposite happens. The guy who is way less attractive has a complex about it and like cheats on them, really bad. But my point is for you guys is I feel like people bring that reaction to you. They often think that like, oh, I bet pile one doesn't gonna like me. I bet pile one is a snob. Pile one probably thinks they're better than me. Pile one probably is gonna earn so much money. Pile one, and they're kind of projecting a lot of negativity. They have this reaction to you that's very much based around like, I bet they wouldn't like me. I bet they're the kind of person who would be a snob to me. I bet they're the kind of person that would have not included me in school. I bet they would blah blah blah. So a lot of people are just assuming almost negative intent or superiority in a way that I don't even think you're putting that out there. But like I said, it's like you could just be talking and telling someone your suggestion for like, well, we should stop doing this in the office because it's a really bad idea. And people are all up in their feelings, unable to take it as legitimate criticism because they're like, oh, so you think you know better than me. And I think you just don't get that. I think you were raised, maybe you were raised in a family where you were like allowed to ask why. Like your parents wouldn't jump down your throat if you said, hey, like, I think we shouldn't go to this restaurant anymore. I don't like it. And they would like listen to you. They didn't have that mentality of like a child needs to shut up and do what the parent says. Maybe your parents were very like, hey, speak your opinion, say what you think or whatever. And you never learned this mentality of like having to keep yourself really small. And so I feel like in a way, I'll be honest, I think you do have an advantage in life in that sense. Like you could be a visionary, you could be an inventor. You are someone that looks really deeply into things and could be the person to like come up with some new app that makes lots of money or writes a book that goes really deep or like invent something. You really have that kind of visionary mindset. You don't just accept the status quo. But people who have accepted the status quo, they kind of don't understand what you're doing, and they feel like, why didn't you get the memo that like you just have to be quiet and shut up and do it? And they get very upset about this. They take it as like a threat to the social order, to the social status or the social fabric of like the company or the friend group or the family. Yeah, I feel like your energy also with this optimism, hope, again, I keep getting it's focused on the future. Like you're going to do something big, you're going to achieve something. Maybe you seem like someone with this passions and interests card who's very like lit up and excited about life, and you have a spark to you and you're doing this and you're trying that and you're thinking of this, and you're not just like a boring schlub type person. And I feel like a lot of people that fit into that boring schlub archetype, they just, yeah, they're not a fan of this, and they do get kind of bothered by it. They do feel like, you know, you're like attacking us because you want to be so special. Let me get into these tarot cards for you. Pile number one. Why does pile one live in people's minds rent-free, spirit? So we have the Knight of Cups, the Two of Pentacles. This one is the Sun. And that's another factor, because the Sun is naturally the center of attention. I think a lot of people just see you as one, even with this Six of Cups too. Maybe that you had like an easy childhood, or you've had things handed to you, you've had things given to you. You haven't had to work that hard for them. But yeah, with the Sun is the center of attention. The Sun is a life force of creativity and power and strength and being a visionary. And I do think people just, they don't like that you're coming in there and either like stealing attention from them. They don't like that you have this charisma. They don't like that people are charmed by you with the Knight of Cups. They don't like that they see you as someone in life who has lots of different options and could be doing lots of different things. They kind of want you locked in and imprisoned in the same way they feel locked in and imprisoned. They feel like they haven't had that many good things happen to them, so why should you have that many good things happen to you? They don't like your optimism. You literally got the optimism card in the other deck, and they don't like that about you. You know, they don't want to see you like smiling super bright and living this amazing life. Fell down. Let me just pick that back up. They don't want to see you like grinning ear to ear. Literally, it might be like your positive vibe, your positive smile that is getting under people's skin. We also got the Ace of Cups, the Hierophant reverse. Ooh, that's a really deep one. The Ten of Wands reversed. Wow. That I felt called to pull some extra cards. What is making people think of pile one all the time? The Devil card. Okay. Yeah, I think it's also funny. You guys got the Ten of Wands reversed and the Hierophant reversed. The Ten of Wands shows someone like stressed out, taking all these wands around. They're working really hard. They're barely able to carry them because they're so heavy. And when it's reversed, they may also see you as someone who, like, it's almost like one of those people who looks younger, and someone just assuming that they had an easy life. Like, oh, you must not have any stress. You don't know what it's like to not get sleep. You don't know what it's like to have a hard life. You don't know what it's like to struggle. And you're like, yes, I do. But people are projecting that on you. And it's almost like they want you to look as beat down and sad and, you know, schlumpy as they do. They want you to look like you've been on the struggle bus for a long time, because that's how they feel. They might resent you for looking younger, for literally physically looking good and having like, you know, a cute, attractive, youthful appearance. They might resent you for seeming to have like soft life vibes. Or if you said like, well, I'm gonna get a massage tonight or something, they might be like, well, you know, I have 3 kids and I never get any rest. And you're like, okay, but like that doesn't have anything to do with me. And they could react by being like, hey, good for you. And I have my 3 kids. I love them. It's hard, but God bless you for getting the massage. Enjoy your life right now at this stage. But instead, I feel like a lot of these people are reacting to you as a hater and seeing you as almost like projecting in their mind that you're spoiled, that you have it too easy. I'm not gonna lie, if I was gonna like take their side of things seriously, since I want this to be like a brutally honest reading, I could also interpret this Ten of Wands reverse as like coworkers resenting you for like not working as hard as them. Or saying like, oh, they always take the easy way out, or they're not actually putting in equal energy. But it's hard to trust, because I do feel like a lot of it is just that with the Hierophant reversed, you're not going along with the crowd, and it's almost like they're grasping at straws to find things that they can criticize. They're trying to find like a reason to be mad. They're trying to find something that you did that's bad, and like I don't even know how accurate it is. Um, but I feel like in their mind, they do feel that it's almost like you have it too easy. It's almost like you are just going to sail through life. And they may also see you as like creative in a way that makes them uncomfortable too. I'm almost thinking of like, and I know she's so unpopular, or she was for the longest time, but I've always liked her, Lena Dunham. And she just released a book about it. And she was saying how so many people just hated her, and she thinks some of it was because she was just kind of grew up in the New York City art world and had a very unusual way of looking at the world. And so she would like not realize that like some people in like middle America were going to be outraged by something because she grew up in like this very progressive place, and she didn't really understand the morals and values that other people have. And so she thought things were okay, that now she's like, oh, I get why that was controversial. So anyway, I kind of feel like that with you. Like a lot of you guys could also have this creative side, or you could have this side to you that is genuinely questioning. I know everyone says like, oh, I question authority, but a lot of people actually don't and just go with authority. Whereas I feel like you actually would question it. You actually listen, or don't just go off like what everyone else is saying. You actually are kind of a unique thinker. And I think that actually makes a lot of people uncomfortable. A lot of people kind of want you to be quiet or just go along with things. And they sense that you're just not as easily controllable. It's also interesting to me, there's so many aces, the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups. The aces are new beginnings. So I feel like people sense this like fresh, youthful, young. They might even say that you're like too naive, too spoiled, that you deserve like a hard lesson in life kind of a thing, with the Six of Cups combined with so many aces and the Sun card. I feel like as well, the aces, the aces are like that optimism, breath of fresh air. It's like a new chance, a new relationship, a new business, something fresh and new. And I think people see you as someone who's very capable of that, building a new business or starting a relationship, or you could be in a relationship if you wanted, or you could open $1 million business if you wanted, that you have lots of possibilities laying out in front of you. You have lots of different things you could do with your life, and you're very capable of that. And I feel like people don't like that. The other thing that's sticking out to me is the High Priestess card. I feel like another element of this is sometimes people actually see you as being very intuitive in a way that makes them uncomfortable. Like you can read people like a book. You're very incisive. You can see through someone if they're like lying or they're not being totally honest. You don't believe the BS. So I think that also gets under people's skin. And with the Devil card, it may also serve as a little bit of contrast. Like I said, you could have someone who is not happy about their life, and it's like you might be that person that's in a healthy relationship, and you go into talk with your friends and you're venting and you're talking about like, well, he usually gets me flowers every single week, but this week he didn't get me flowers. And your friend whose partner like treats her like total garbage is like secretly mad, and she's pissed off because she's like, my partner has never gotten me flowers, and she's ranting about not getting flowers for 1 week or whatever. And it's almost like they resent you for providing that contrast, that you have higher standards. Or like I said, there's a janky workplace where they're kind of trying to steal your labor, and you're the one pointing out like, well, they should be paying us for lunches, or well, I need to get my insurance card or something. And you have a coworker who's tolerated some total BS from the boss, who almost resents you because they felt good about the job before and now they're questioning. And so you might have that effect on people where they resent you in the moment and you're very disruptive in the moment, and they're almost angry at you in the moment. And then later on, they reflect on it and they're like, they were kind of right about that. Maybe I should quit this job. This job really doesn't pay very well. And, they haven't treated me that good. So, yeah, there could be like this residual kind of, at first people are angry, but then it also helps them reflect and see that you were right. To be honest with you, you were making the right decisions and you were looking at things accurately, but at first it's almost like they don't want to admit that to themselves. So I want to get some final cards from this deck and see why pile number 1 lives rent-free in people's minds. Stranger curiosity. Okay. This is Sky Dancers, surrender. Caterpillar, opportunity. Mindful, groupthink. Ooh, and also lost in space, needing direction. It's interesting you got mindful, groupthink, because that's like a fame card for me. It can indicate some fame, and I feel like you kind of give off that vibe. Like you would be the talk of the town, even if you're not trying to. People would just want to talk about you. People would just be interested in you, and I think other people can pick up that vibe too. They know that a lot of people are curious about you. They know that you kind of change the temperature of the room when you walk in. Like the French would call it je ne sais quoi, and I don't know what. Someone who just has charisma or something different about them or something special or unique about them, and you might not even be able to verbalize it and put it into words, but you're like, yeah, there's something unusual about this person, there's something different about them, there's something really cool about them. So I feel like a lot of times when you you think you're minding your business, you're not trying to get attention, but you have people paying attention to you that you don't even know about, you don't even realize. You're not trying for that, you're not like fighting for people to notice you, but they naturally do. And it's almost like that's even worse. Like I brought up the David Chang metaphor at Thanksgiving, like cooking for someone like that, where they're just such a brilliant cook. It's like, it gets under your skin even more than someone that had to follow every recipe. Someone that's just not even trying, someone that is like, naturally beautiful, and they didn't even have to put on any makeup. That is even more irritating than someone that looks really good, but they're like, oh, I had to get this plastic surgery, I had to get this done to my face, I had to get facials twice a week, and I also have all this makeup on, and I got this skincare. Like that feels a lot better than the person that's like, oh, I never wear makeup, I just wake up looking like this. No, I've never had any surgery. So I feel like also you kind of give off this not trying vibe. Like you genuinely seem like you have this beautiful, pure heart, to be honest, pile 1. And I feel like that gets under people's skin too, because it's almost like they really can't even rationally hate you. You just truly are that girl, that guy. You just truly are someone that is like, I don't want to say better because that sounds really bad, but I think a lot of people view you as that, like you're just better than them. You're just better looking, or you're just more intelligent, or you're just smarter, or you're just, something about you. And I feel like that really ends up upsetting people, and they don't really want to like process that or be honest with themselves. So they're grasping at straws to find reasons to hate you. And that makes them feel even worse because they kind of know that low key. It's easy to hate someone that's just like a total, monster of a person. But when someone is bothering you so much and you also can't even hate them, and you have to admit like, no, this is just a beautiful person. Like it's like, say there was 2 girls around and your say in this example, you're living in hell and you have a super unloyal boyfriend who's checking out both women, okay? And for whatever reason, you're not dumping him. But say he's checking out one woman and she's got like I said, over the top makeup. She's wearing a super low cut dress. She's flirting with your partner. She's like rubbing her hand up his arm. That is probably easier to dismiss than like the beautiful woman who's just like wearing a sweater, but she has a face card on 10. She's minding her business. She's not making eye contact. She's trying to avoid eye contact with your boyfriend, but he's still staring her down. That is so much more of like a L. Like that feels so much worse. At least you can kind of like delude yourself with the other girl and be like, well, she was flirting with him. Well, she tried it. She was doing this on purpose. She made it happen. You can kind of put the blame on her. But when there's just that perfect innocent person that's just so radiant that people can't stop looking at them, that's very hard to like really, deny reality on. You just kind of have to admit like, no, my boyfriend's just a cheater. She's not even doing anything, and that's more painful. So I feel like in a way people get upset with you because you trigger pain in them for stuff they haven't admitted or they're not willing to be honest about. So yeah, that is what I have for you. Pile number one. I really hope that resonates, guys. I would love to know if it did. Let me know in the comments if you've had experiences like that, people randomly hating you, like at work or in social friend groups, and you're like, I literally never did anything to them and I was always nice to them. Whether you think it is accurate that it's honestly a little bit of jealousy, or maybe you do think some of it is deserved, and you sometimes do that 10 of wands reverse energy where you're like, I'm not helping over here, I'm not doing this work. Let me know in the comments. I'm always super curious. And if you want to see more of my content, you can head on over to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. There are over 150 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted a reading about what your boss and coworkers think of you. There's also a reading about their forbidden thoughts about you. There's readings from spirit, messages from spirit. There's also love readings, career readings, money readings. So much content to choose from. So if that sounds good to you and you want to join me on Patreon, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments, in the description, and I would love to see you there. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want to whether you want it to be focused on tarot, astrology, channeling, mediumship, a combination, you get to really customize your time with me, so it's the perfect session for you. If that sounds good, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. So that's about all I have to say, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey Pile 2, welcome to your reading. Let's get into your cards and see why you live in people's minds rent-free. Why does Pile 2 live in people's minds rent-free, Spirit? We got 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel, Angel of Love, the Temple Path, Contract, Woman Holding a Heart, Indecision. Okay, so right now we have this 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel, that's the throat chakra, and I am picking up this kind of charisma around you. Like, I feel like you guys don't know how charming you can be, especially when you speak. And what I'm actually feeling intuitively is this kind of cutesy energy. It's funny, you guys got 2 cards about love, Angel of Love, Woman Holding a Heart. So I feel like people end up kind of falling in love with you a little bit. Like, it's funny because I am getting that you're very intelligent as well with this 5th chakra, throat chakra, and then the Contract card. But I also feel like people low-key fall in love and like you're very clueless about that. I don't think you realize the effect you have on people. I feel like people see you as very intelligent, but in a way that's not like overly almost too nerdy or too logical minded. It's like maybe the things you talk about, you have certain interests that just like light your face up and you start chatting and talking, and you don't realize how funny and charming and like interesting you are. You don't realize that when you're talking about these things, like you're actually making people laugh, or you're unusually easy to talk to. So I feel like this rent-free living situation feels kind of positive. It feels like you're living in people's minds rent-free, but it's not like hater energy as much as it is admiration or people crushing on you, although it definitely could turn into hatred or anger if they feel rejected by you or they feel like you led them on. And that's an energy I'm getting, is that a lot of people might think or project that you led them on, or that like you have a connection with them and you tricked them or you flirted with them and now you're backtracking. Because I feel like people take your energy as flirtation, and sometimes they mistake that. Like, I feel like your personality is kind of bubbly, outgoing. You probably talk to everyone. You're probably friendly to everyone and just nice. But there are people who are so desperate for like kindness and connection, and they kind of see you and think that they have this personal connection. Like, it's not that you're being nice to everyone, you're being especially nice to them. You like them, you guys have something between you. So yeah, I feel a lot of times the living rent free is Also, people thinking of you, I'm almost getting like a whimsical vibe. Like it feels like an elf or a fairy or some kind of mythical creature like a mermaid. Someone that I feel like you give off this like almost woodland forest, fairy, sometimes head in the clouds. Maybe you seem a little spacey. Maybe you seem like someone who reads a lot or someone who's always thinking, always dreaming, always imagining. You always have something on your mind. And I feel like that makes you kind of an enigma, a mystery. People think of you because they can't quite figure you out. So you're living rent free in their head because they're kind of intrigued by you. They like you. They see you as very physically attractive. And then I feel like people also like your voice, find you very charismatic. Maybe even the literal tone of your voice, like the way your voice sounds might be very attractive to them. I feel like there could be also a jealous energy. Sometimes people thinking of you as too cute and like getting this resentment in them, like assuming that because you have this cutesy, sweet vibe to you, that like you never had anything hard happen to you, or you're too sweet, you're too sheltered, or women or people of the same sex being jealous of you because they're like, oh, well, why are you getting attention from this person? Or I bet, you know, all these people fall in love with pile one, or excuse me, pile two. So that's the kind of negative vibe I'm getting, but honestly, it's mostly very positive. It mostly feels like you're living rent free in people's minds because they like you. They think of you as, almost the word coming to my mind is adorable and cutesy and sweet and unique and interesting, and almost like they want to protect you. You might bring out a protective instinct in some people, and they feel like you're too good for this world or too sweet for this world. On the other side, you could also kind of attract predators and people that see you as very sweet and almost young at heart. And a lot of predators like that type of energy. They want to mess with it. They want to take away that light. So it could go either way. But yeah, I feel like I'm honestly so far getting mostly a positive vibe, mostly a feeling of enjoying you, liking you, admiring you, and seeing you in a very positive light. I want to move on to some more oracle cards to see what else is going to come through, what other energies want to come forward for this reading. So let's see. Why does pile number 2 live in people's minds rent-free, Spirit? Why does pile number 2 relationship repeat? Wow. A lot of people want to be in a relationship with you, pile 2. A lot of people want to date you. A lot of people see you as good relationship material, like a good girlfriend or a good boyfriend, or kind of, you're almost giving that boy next door, girl next door vibe, you know, like the sweet, like, oh, this person isn't going to break my heart. And I feel like that's where sometimes, if there is resentment, that's where it goes in, because sometimes people, they might even kind of underestimate you. Like they may see you as pile number 2 is so sweet and pretty, but they're not like intimidating. I feel like you go out of your way to be not intimidating. I feel like you go out of your way to be friendly to everyone and nice and like make everyone feel comfortable. But because of that, you might have sometimes people like it's almost like if you were to fully claim your energy, claim how attractive you are, claim this kind of spark of charisma you have, and like lean into that all the way, you might be dressing like a vixen, like exuding an energy like Megan Fox or someone, you know, like clearly owning that, like, yes, I know I'm hot. But instead you kind of downplay it sometimes. It's almost giving me the vibes of like Alyssa Liu. I hope I'm saying her name right, from the Olympics, how she's obviously a cute girl, but she also like dresses in a cutesy way, you know? She's doing this like sweet, non-intimidating vibe. And then you contrast her with like the other kind of gold medal winner who is in the moment, Eileen Gu, who's very like intimidating, and she wears makeup and she's kind of very stylized, and she like really goes to these high-end fashion shows. And then Alyssa Liu seems very like girl next door, approachable. You could imagine actually asking her out and like going on a date with her if you're a guy. And I think that's why so many guys were so attracted to her during the Olympics and like went crazy over her, because they could imagine that like they could actually date her. But of course, she's not really that accessible. She is a major celebrity, but sometimes I feel like it's almost like people underestimate you, or they think of you as approachable approachable, and it might be kind of irritating sometimes, actually. You might feel like you have people approach you and you're like, are you crazy? Like, I was being nice to you, but like, come on, we're not in the same league. Like, you're twice my age, or like, you're not very attractive, and not to be mean, but I know I am attractive and I'm being nice, but come on now. And so sometimes it might get a little irritating if you feel like people kind of take you for granted, or they don't give you the full credit of like, yes, you're stunning, yes, you're beautiful. And so dysfunctional people might sometimes think that like they have a chance with you, or you guys have a secret connection, or you're flirting with them even when you're just being sweet because you feel bad for them, that kind of a thing. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people imagine you'd be great to be in a relationship with. You're very sweet, nurturing, kind. Archangel Metatron, ancient wisdom, understanding, resourcefulness, intelligence, mental action, right thinking. What's the other card we're going to get? Why does pile number 2 live in people's minds rent-free? Why are they living in people's minds rent-free? Education. And we also have finding love. It's so interesting. You keep getting this very consistent energy between like intellectualism and being smart and intelligent, and then like love vibes, relationship vibes. I feel like you must kind of have a little bit of a almost nerdy vibe, where people see you as intelligent, like you have a really good vocabulary. They see you as really smart, or you have like random little interests. Maybe you read a lot of books. Maybe you are, I don't know, very plugged into the news or something, or even like celebrity news, celebrity gossip. But I think people find this kind of cute. Like, it's almost like you give off a little bit of a nerdy but very attractive vibe. You don't seem like you just spend all your time, I don't know, even though you're attractive physically, you don't feel like you spend all your time focusing on like what makeup you're going to wear, or the clothes, or designer bags. It feels like you're very down to earth and grounded, and your mind is also, I feel like, this really cool place where you have this incredible creativity. Maybe you're the kind of person who would like write a best-selling novel, or you always have an idea for like a movie in your head, or you're very plugged into some kind of subculture. Like you love a certain book and you read all the fan fiction from that book, or you're into like anime or some kind of niche subgenre, or K-pop, whatever. But I feel like people can kind of tell that like your mind is active and you're always thinking, you're always imagining things. And I feel like it almost gives you this dreamy quality, you know, and like this real balance between someone who's very attractive and physically good looking, or has an energy to them that is very relationship kind of sexy and cool and down to earth, but also balanced with being intellectual and having a great mind. And when you talk, I feel like it's actually very interesting. You might say things that kind of get lodged in people's head. Like I feel like the way you look at the world is very unique. So it kind of reminds me of like that trope from a lot of movies written by men, because I'm telling you, men love this energy, is like the manic pixie dream girl, like from Garden State, or I feel like a lot of John Green books have this vibe. Like, I can't even think of all the names of all the movies he's made, but like that chaotic woman who comes into some boring guy's life and like disrupts it, and she's so different and unique, and she's kind of quirky in some way, and she feels approachable in that sense. She's not like doing her makeup all the time, or clearly like having, I don't know, like visible plastic surgery, or having this look to her that she's like untouchable or very superficial, I guess. She gives off a vibe that she's really down to earth, and she just so happens to be like stunningly beautiful. So I actually feel like you really embody that, and a lot of men might be very drawn to you if you're a woman. Also, men can give off this vibe too and have women drawn to them. It's kind of like that perfect combo, right? Like we all want that attractive partner, but even better if they're not like stuck up and full of themselves, and they're like fun to talk to and cool and chill, and down to earth. And I definitely feel like that's the energy you give off. But again, it might almost bring out a desire to control you sometimes. Like this card is really sticking out to me, this servitude card, where I feel like sometimes people love your independence and this kind of wildness and this different quality, unique quality, marching to the beat of your own drum thing. But then sometimes they actually try to control you, or they try to get to be able to boss you around a little bit. They might have this fear that you're going to go off and like talk to other men, or you're going to go talk to other girls. And sometimes I feel like, honestly, the vibe you give off is so attractive to people that they kind of go crazy, and they try to kind of control your light a little bit. A lot of people who have not as bright of a light as you are drawn to it, and they love it, and they see it as very positive. But then when they realize it's not specifically directed at them, and that you directed at everyone, I feel like sometimes they get in their feelings, they get jealous. So you might have had a lot of unpleasant experiences with people who like you thought were your friend, and then they start hitting on you. Or in a relationship, someone that gets with you and then starts trying to control you, starts trying to figure out what you're doing, where you're going, where you're at all the time. Another thing that spirit is telling me in my mind is that you are going to be attractive well into like old age, to be honest. Like, you're never going to lose this energy of attraction because it's such an innate part of you. You may have spent past lifetimes. This is my past lifetime card, and you guys got relationship, repeat, finding love. I feel like this is the theme for you, is that like you've always been attractive. Even if you were born into an attractive body in this lifetime, in every lifetime you were attractive, in every lifetime you had people pursuing you. That's just a part of your soul, and it's part of your like soul imprint. So I feel like you've had this vibe before. You may have had past lifetimes in like the 8th house or the 7th house, relationships focused house has, or the 4th house even. But especially I feel like the 7th or 8th house. And it could have been sometimes when people tried to control you, people were kind of fixated on you, or they loved you, but then they became obsessed. And so I feel like that might also contribute to some of you guys even having like a fear of commitment, or sometimes being like shying away from relationships, because it's like you recognize that your energy is like addictive. You know, it's kind of like I've gotten into a lot of the Momofuku crunch and lately, and I told someone about it and like gave them some, and they were like, I was like, you're gonna love this, just trust me, I know you're gonna really like this flavor profile. And they went absolutely nuts and like started putting it on everything. And then they told me like, oh, it's so good, I've been using it, and by the way, like, I want to get some more, where do I order it from? And I was like, well, the jars are kind of expensive. Like, the thing is, you're supposed to ration it a little. You're not supposed to like dump half of it on any dish you're eating. Like, you're not supposed to go through it in like 3 days. You're supposed to like try to stretch it a little bit because the jars are pricey. And anyway, just that almost reminds me of you. That's what spirit is bringing into my mind, is like, you know how some things you're like, oh, just put that in the back of the fridge. That was good. Yeah, that was nice. But anyway, I had enough of that. And then there's certain things, like certain foods that you just like can't stop eating, or you open like the pack of Oreos or the pack of potato chips and you're like, wait a minute, how did I eat half the bag of this? Or how did I eat so many? I feel like you kind of give off that energy towards people. Like, they just get into a frenzy with you and they suddenly want everything from you. You could be that kind of person also, who can lock down a guy or a girl who used to be a player or never was like into relationships before, but with you, they want a relationship. I feel like a lot of people get way possessive of you, way obsessed, and you know that. And so again, I feel like a lot of you guys might deliberately keep yourself single, or be like, why am I so resistant to being in a relationship? Why do I just want to be single all the time? Or why am I still a virgin at this age? 28 or whatever, or why am I never had a serious boyfriend or girlfriend? And part of it is because you know that like they get obsessed with you, and you might want to live a lifetime in this lifetime where you are more independent and that not having that pressure, you know? Because I feel like sometimes in past lifetimes, I'm not gonna lie, it's funny, like I said, you guys have so many intellectual cards as well, intelligence cards. You are highly intelligent, but because people get so addicted to your energy, they might not be even trying to do anything bad, but sometimes they try to suppress you, or they won't let you go after your own hobbies or your own interests, because they're just like, no, like if you go, get your PhD, you'll fall in love with one of the other PhD students, so I'm going to sabotage that. Or I'm not going to let you like get a job or a career of your own, because if you have that independence, you'll leave me. And that's happened in past lifetimes. So sometimes I feel like you have this fear of it and you just want to like do your own thing. Because you know that like you have these other intellectual goals, and that's what gives you that independent streak. That's so interesting. You live in your own world. Even if you're in a relationship, even if you are with someone, you're always going to have your own mind, your own thoughts, and like your own ideas, and live in this creative vibe that you give off. And so that kind of makes you untouchable in some way. Even if you're in a relationship, even if you're very close to someone, you're not obsessing and spending all your time thinking of them, because you have your own thoughts. And that makes people like you, get addicted to you, but also like resent you or feel weird or, you know, get mad about it. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting mix, but I feel like it's definitely a vibe that you played out many times in many lifetimes. Let me get into these cards for you. Pile number 2. Why does... I didn't even ask the question, and you guys get the Lover's card. I'm telling you. Wow, like so many people want to date you. Let's just wrap the reading up here. Need I say more? And the next card is the 2 of Cups. You literally can't make it up. This is so crazy. Like, yeah, this is what Spirit is saying. Spirit is like, did I stutter? Like, I made it very clear. People want to date pile number 2. That's why you live rent free. And I feel like that's also where, if you have hating friends, that's maybe where it comes from too, is because you could be that person that like your friend group goes out for a night out and everyone's like, okay, we're going to flirt. We're going to talk to guys. And all the guys just want to talk to you. Or someone brings around their new man, their new boyfriend, or this new guy they've been talking to. And you end up, like the guy ends up totally fixated on you, talking to you the whole time, focusing on you. And you might feel bad about it and try to like redirect and be like, hey, like, you know, aren't you talking to Caitlin? But I feel like there are just people who are just really drawn to you and see you as like this prize. So Spirit also wants me to tell you that like, if you're ever worried about like, I don't know, aging, getting older, or like, if I leave this relationship though, will I be able to find someone to date? It's like pile 2. You will always have people to date. You will always have multiple options. You will always have like people lined up around the block for you. I mean, let's be real. It's just a matter of who you want to let in, because you really are the prize. So we got the Knight of Swords, the Hanged Man. Why does pile number 2 live in people's minds of rent-free, Spirit? The Death card. This one is the 5 of Wands, and you guys also got the 4 of Wands reversed. I want to get just one more set of cards, I think, for you guys. Why does pile 2 live in people's minds not free, Spirit? 10 of Cups. Ace of Cups. Okay. So I feel like, yeah, a lot of people are just drawn to you. A lot of people see you as incredible relationship material. A lot of people see you as someone that it's also like they would be impressed or proud to bring you home to like their family, to their parents, to their friend group. They feel like you always make a really good impression. You always look good. You always sound good. You're very highly intelligent. You're someone that like really knows what to say, knows how to make people comfortable. And a lot of people with that 10 of Cups, they can just imagine building a whole life with you. I feel like they also think you would be good as like a parent, because you are very nurturing and sweet and loving, and you have this kind of bubbly, positive, creative vibe. It's almost like a teacher vibe or something. Like it just feels very positive. Like kids probably love you. Animals probably love you. The other thing I'm getting with this Death card, the Hanged Man, is I think sometimes another thing we haven't talked about yet, because I feel like I've mentioned a lot about people wanting to date you, but another thing is I think you have an unusual way of talking or a very persuasive way of talking. Like the way you look at the world is genuinely cool and unique and different and special. So I feel like sometimes people talk to you about like a certain topic and you completely change their mind, and then they're thinking about you a lot afterwards. Like you're on their mind because they, you were the one who mentioned a band to them, and then they start listening to that band and then they're like, oh, this is so good. Oh, wow. I really like this band. And it's almost like the way you look at the world, the spin you put on it, the way you, view things is very unique and different, and you are very persuasive, and also you have this enthusiasm about you. So you wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, I saw this movie, it was good. Your eyes might light up, you might be like, it was the best movie, it was so funny, blah blah blah, and like say all this stuff. You're very persuasive. You know how like there's people who are on like the Home Shopping Network and QVC. I actually love watching those channels. I love watching QVC. It's so entertaining to me for some reason. But I noticed that the people on those shows, like they always can sell anything because they have that infectious quality. So they can sell like an old dish rag, and you're like, yeah, that sounds really good, because they know what features to bring up. They know how to chat, and it makes you enthusiastic. And then you're like, should I order those dish rags for like $60? Maybe I should. And you find yourself thinking about it. But like, it's a good quality. It's good that they can get you excited about some random thing. And I feel like you have that vibe to you too. And so you could be very effective in like changing people's minds on things. I mean, some of you guys could honestly go into like politics. You guys literally had your throat chakra activated with that first card we pulled. So again, I feel like you're very, very charismatic. And sometimes you really like make people's minds change about things without even trying. You're not trying to persuade, you're not trying to get them to do things a certain way, but you just so happen to talk about it in a way that makes everyone maybe want to like see what you mean and like agree with you. And they're like, yeah, like you're right, that movie does look really funny. I didn't think it looked good before, but after hearing pile number 2 talk about it, yeah. So you could actually like really use this for good and like change people's minds with like big political issues or social issues. I feel like you are super, super charismatic and you don't even realize that. So let me clear these and get into our final set of cards, pile number 2. So let's see. Why does pile number 2 live in people's minds rent free? Wailing tree, reconciliations. Okay, that makes sense, because I actually have been thinking that I think a lot of people want to date you, or I already said that a million times. What I was saying is I feel like a lot of people have dated you, or there's someone like you have a romantic connection with in your past. And I was wondering, I was like, I feel this energy coming in a lot. And I do feel like some of it is like an ex or multiple exes. People that felt like they had a romantic connection with you and you're still on their mind a lot. I feel like that's kind of what's coming up as the primary group that you live rent free. It could have just been a situation where to you felt like you're flirting and like nothing serious happened. And you're like, yeah, we were never together, but but they stay obsessed. Or it could have been like a serious soulmate, twin flame ex, and they're just thinking of you. They're just fixated on you. They just can't get over you. And I feel like some of them do want reconciliation. Spirit is also showing me someone going back and forth, like can't make their mind up. I feel like you have people who, again, you kind of provoke this obsession and this love-hate vibe, because sometimes people really do feel like you led them on because you are so charming. It's like, you know what it reminds me of is like that scene in Legally Blonde when there was the kind of nerdy guy who kept helping Elle all the time. And so she sees him talking to these 2 hot girls. They reject him. They're like, why would we go out with a loser like you? And so she goes over to him, slaps him across the face and says, why would you ever give me the greatest pleasure I've ever known and then take it away? And then he's like, sorry. And she's like, nothing will ever make up for it. And basically implying like, you were so good in bed and then you took that away from me. And then the girls are like interested because they're like, oh, he must have been really good in bed if he made her so crazy. And that's the vibe I feel like sometimes with you, where people get like all up in their feelings with you. They feel rejected by you, or they feel like you lied to them, or or, you know, you promised you would be with them forever, or you were so good in bed, maybe literally that, or you were so sexy and so seductive and so attractive. And then they have this great, massive disappointment, feeling like they can't actually be with you. And it really like messes them up in the head and like makes them kind of bitter. So I am seeing someone debating in their mind, going back and forth, being like, I don't know, should I be with pile number 2? Should I reach out? You know, and then feeling sorry for themselves, and then being like, no, they screwed me over, they betrayed me. And then being like, no, but we did have a connection, or I really liked, or they're so beautiful, or and I shouldn't have acted that way. And then like going back on it and feeling a lot of like mixed emotions, a lot of kind of, I should reach out, but I can't, or it's too late, or I want to, but they've moved on. They probably didn't care about me. They probably flirt with anyone. And that's the other downside, is I feel like because you are so charismatic with everyone and so kind of friendly, that like intelligent people who aren't delusional pick up on that, and they're like, no, they're kind of nice to everyone, so it's not because of me. And so yeah, that's kind of the downside, is maybe there have been times when you really have felt a connection with someone, but they're assuming like, oh, you're just that way with everyone, it's nothing to do with me. And they kind of don't want to be a total delulu who's thinking like, you know, the stripper is like flirting with them as a customer. So not that you're a stripper, but just like the beautiful waitress who's always smiling is like particularly in love with them, you know, and they're like, no, she's just being nice to everyone. So yeah, that is the vibe I have for you, pile number 2. I really hope that resonates. Please let me know if it does. If it does, this was very interesting to me. Yeah, I think you guys are kind of a unique combo. It seems like beauty and brains, or kind of a nerdy or intellectual vibe sometimes, but mixed with being very charismatic and attractive. So do you think you embody this manic pixie dream girl, or you've had people obsessed with you romantically, or are bitter that like you stole their man? I'm very curious about this pile, so please let me know. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe, and if you want to see more of my content, then you can head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 150 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted readings about what your boss and coworkers think of you. There's also a spicier reading about their secret desires for you. I just posted a message from Spirit, and that's kind of where I'm doing my spiritual readings for right now, but there's so much content to choose from. So if any of those topics interest you, or you want to see any of the other 150 readings, you can head on over to my Patreon, and the link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be focused on tarot, astrology, channeling, mediumship, a combination, you get to really customize your time with me, so it's the perfect reading for you. If that sounds good, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile 3, welcome to your reading. Let's get into your cards and see why you live rent-free in people's minds. Why does pile number 3 live rent-free in people's minds? So we got yin yang, indecision. Why does pile number 3 live rent-free in people's minds? Attachments. Second chakra, Archangel Ariel. Okay. Interesting. So the first thing I'm getting is some of you guys, people have done you wrong. People are thinking about you because they've done you wrong. And either you walked away, or they go back and forth in their mind with like how they treated you, and they kind of are questioning like, did I treat pile number 3 really bad? Did I screw them over? I also feel like you have this kind of karmic protection around you. So they might find after they treat you bad that their life starts falling apart, or things start really going wrong for them. Bad things happen to them, and maybe there's a part of their mind that's like trying to connect those dots and kind of wondering like, is this something I caused? Or like you flash into their mind when they get that, you know, flat tire on the highway or something, or when they trip and fall down a few stairs or whatever, something bad happens to them, and they're like, I don't know, is this connected? Like, I feel like sometimes they get a burst of insight, but then push it away. That's what I'm feeling is there's a lot of jealousy around you. You really are a soft and sweet soul, pile three. And I actually feel like a lot of times people get jealous of this beautiful energy you give off. There's something kind of quiet and intelligent and creative and drifty, dreamy. Like, honestly, the energy that's coming to my mind is like a beautiful spring morning, like the gentleness of spring. And, like the sun is not too strong, it's not too hot. There's a gentle breeze, and the flowers are just beginning to come out, and the green is happening. And it just feels so dreamy and nice and soft. And I feel like you give off that kind of energy, and sometimes it does provoke jealousy. Like, you almost sometimes, to some people, seem too soft. And I feel like that somehow irritates them, where there are literally people who think like, oh, you have it too easy in life, and I want to make it harder for you, or that you're like entitled. I actually feel like, honestly, I'm getting a lot of you people might have family members who could be haters, if I'm going to be completely honest, family members or close friends. But it feels like these are people that, like, they know deep down inside that they were supposed to love you, or that they were, yeah, like karmically, that's bad, that they don't have a relationship with you, or that they're not close with you, or that they're not treating you well. They know that like this is not an easy situation, or like a balanced situation. Like, you weren't being a hater back to them, or you weren't being mean to them. And so I feel like sometimes they know they had the obligation to be nice to you, and that you're not this kind of cold, mean person. But there's something about you that brings out almost like a predatory side in people, like this anger. I feel like sometimes people resent you for being soft, and they take that as like, you deserve it, or you need to learn this tough lesson, or you are so soft because you've had everything easy for you, so you deserve this. And also possibly being very intimidated about your forward trajectory. With this blossoming abundance card, people might sometimes think that like you're gonna really accomplish a lot in life, or you're very charismatic and other people like you. And low-key, I'm getting deep down inside, these are people that resent you, and they're like, people shouldn't be loving you. Who are you? Like, you're not that special. You're not that great. I don't understand the hype. I don't understand why you have all these guys after you, or I don't understand why you have so many friends. If they knew the real you, they wouldn't like you. So it's giving that hater energy. It's giving like someone that they know they could never say this to your face, and that if they did, they would sound horrible. So they're not going to say that. But deep down inside, they are definitely thinking about like how, unfair it all is, and how like they should be the center of attention, or you've had things happening and it's too easy for you. And it's almost like, in a way, pile three, you are so easy to love, and you've been around dysfunctional people who have a lack of capacity to fully love. And because of that, you bring out this rage in them. Like, they know that like you're not an evil person. Maybe with other relationships, they can write it off or dismiss it, or be like, well, I got into a fight with this person and it's their fault and they provoked it. But with you, you are so innocent and sweet that they know that there's no reason why they shouldn't be loving you. And so sometimes that like makes them mad that about their behavior, and they project that on you. You know what I mean? Like, it brings up feelings in themselves where they're like, wow, that was really messed up. It's like, how sometimes you lose your temper, or you get really mad about something, or something really upsets you, and you have time to reflect later, and you're like, oh God, like, why did I freak out like that? Why did I get so upset? Why did I, say that? And it's like, oh shoot, that's an unhealed part of me here. I need to work on that. Or the healthy response is being like, yeah, I messed up. Let me reflect on that. Let me improve myself. Let me get better. But the unhealthy response is like, well, I got mad because they did this, or because it was their fault somehow. And it's almost like when there's someone who's so perfect and so sweet and so innocent, and they're not doing anything bad, it's a lot harder to blame them. It's a lot harder to dismiss it in your mind as like it's someone else's fault. So I don't know. I just get this vibe about you that you're actually a really lovely person, and you have people who are thinking about you. These people could be thinking about resuming contact with you, wanting to reach out to you. I feel like with the anxiety card, like, It's funny because I also feel like time is on your side, pile number 3, because I feel like, again, it's like the more they think about it, the more they have to admit that, like, you weren't doing anything bad, you weren't doing anything evil. If they tried to write it off like that, in their mind, or be like, well, they deserved it. It's like the more they think about it, the more they have to admit that they were wrong. And that's what they really don't want to do. Again, I feel like you do have very good karma on your side. That's also working against them. They might feel punished in some way. They might see your life moving ahead, or it's like this looming feeling over them of knowing that they messed up somehow. They did something bad. They did something wrong. Let me clear these cards and get into our next Oracle deck, pile number 3. So, why does pile number 3 live rent-free in people's minds? Why does pile number 3 live rent-free in people's minds? Why does pile number 3 live rent-free in people's minds? Passions and interests, hobbies, sports, favorite pastimes. Warrior, courage, taking on challenges. Okay, finding love, spouse, lover, Archangel Metatron, ancient wisdom, understanding. And let's get a couple more. Archangel Gabriel, communication of all kinds. Archangel Uriel, passion, spirit, connections. And what did I say? You guys are energetically protected. You really have this strong kind of karmic hedge of protection around you. And right as I said that, as we're doing this card pull, so many angels come out. Now another one, Archangel Raphael, love, healing, miracle. So we have literally half of these cards are angel cards. You guys are so protected. And then this other physical issues card, I feel like that is kind of a metaphor of illness, accident, injury. Again, this karma thing, like things going bad. As I mentioned, someone falling down a flight of stairs, or their wheel popping on their tire. And like this is like the ancient, old-fashioned equivalent of that, someone's carriage breaking. But yeah, I feel like, you are that kind of person that really you have angels around you. Really, you are such a pure soul that you have this team around you protecting you. And so someone might not spiritually be as tuned into knowing that fully and being able to consciously perceive it, but they might know that, like, when things went bad with you, things started going bad in their life, or that they just have this sense of guilt. They can't get away from it, or they got in a fight with you and then, their laptop broke a couple days later, and there's a little thought that pops into their mind being like, does this have something to do with pile 3? But then they push it away. I keep getting images of you as a little child. I keep seeing little children in my mind, like little sweet, perfect, innocent toddlers and babies and stuff. And Spirit's showing me how innocent and pure of a soul you are. And so I feel like, again, innocence has a really special quality to it. It's very spiritually prized. And I don't just mean with like the angels. I mean with predators too, and dark entities. They literally feed off innocence. And this is why there's horrible rituals involving, like, if we really want to get into dark spiritual topics, involving virgins, involving children, because there is an energy around someone who is innocent, is so high vibrational. They have such a beautiful spark to them. And I feel like you have that as well. And so you might attract people who literally want to take that away from you, or it irritates their soul, or they get jealous of it subconsciously. They might not consciously know, like, oh, I'm jealous of their innocence, but deep down inside, it may not sit right with their spirit. So I feel like you have haters who just like want to take that from you somehow, or they feel beaten down by life and they don't understand why you still have such a bright light to you. Because I actually feel like you guys have been through some stuff, even if you haven't. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I feel like you have this resilience to you too. You actually have this warrior energy. So this is the funny thing. People might mistake your innocence and be like, oh, I bet they had such an easy life, everything handed to them. But I actually feel like you have this warrior quality to you, where you're just like, I'm not going to let the world bring me down. I'm not going to let myself become jaded or closed off or whatever. But people don't understand that. They don't understand your energy. And they sometimes take your kindness for weakness, or they don't realize fully how spiritually protected you are. They see you being kind and they assume you're doing it because you're powerless or because you don't know any better. They don't realize you choose to be kind, that you would be kind no matter what, that your soul has always chosen to be kind. And in that sense, I think you are a little bit of an older or more spiritually elevated soul. And this is probably why you have so much angelic protection, spiritual protection around you, because your soul is very evolved and you've probably lived many, many lifetimes. So you're actually the opposite of innocent in that sense, you know. You're not like some brand new soul that doesn't know what's going on. You do know what's going on, and because of that, because of your spiritual wisdom, you're choosing not to seek out power and temporary like spiritual earthly, you know, powers or whatever. You're choosing to have that spiritual growth and the spiritual presence of choosing to be kind and loving because you know how high vibrational it is. But there are lower vibrational people, less evolved souls that mistake your kindness for weakness and just assume that like you don't know any better, you're stupid or you're naive or you're an idiot. And they don't get that like, no, you are a lot more enlightened than they are. And that's why you choose to be kind and nice to strangers and loving and not like, you're not a vengeful, angry person or a like a hater. You're not a jealous person because you are so spiritually evolved and you are spiritually protected. And I actually am getting this vibe around you, pile number 3. It's kind of off topic, but that you're supposed to be a leader in this lifetime. Spirit is showing me that. And it's funny. I don't ever usually do this, but kind of had a scratch in my throat. So I actually pulled like 3 cards and I was like, no, let me scratch this reading because let me drink some water first. And then like I just started, so I'll just re-pull the cards and whatever. But the first card I pulled was the Sun, and I clocked it. And I do feel like you guys are supposed to be a leader. You guys are supposed to be like having a presence, shining a light, and accomplishing some major stuff. And you know, part of that journey, pile 3, it may literally involve cutting people off. It may literally involve being born into a toxic family and having to get away from it, or having a toxic friend group and learning to not tolerate bad behavior from others, learning to stand up for yourself, learning to put up boundaries. But I do feel like you guys are supposed to be a voice. You guys got Archangel Gabriel who rules the throat chakra. So I do feel like you are supposed to communicate somehow, give a voice. You're deeply spiritually enlightened, and you could even be some kind of guru or spiritual leader. Maybe some of you guys want to be tarot readers or spiritual leaders or Reiki healers or psychics or anything, or astrologers or anything spiritual, because I do feel like you guys are a very spiritual, very intuitive pile, and you have this kind of power and capability, like untapped power. I'm almost feeling Spirit just showed me this image of like someone who's a really strong, yoked, giant warrior, probably like super big muscles on their arms, and they're just sitting calmly in their chair and like not doing much. And again, this is the thing. This is like the mistake people make. It's like, you know how sometimes you will see video, it'll go viral, and they'll be like, I don't know, some guy who's like not reacting. Maybe there's some crazy guy getting in his face or shouting at him. And then there's a guy and he's just like standing there looking kind of amused. He's not scared. He's not reacting. And then, you know, and I try not to ever watch like violent videos because I just can't, like, I'm too much of a Pisces to watch like people get beat up. But, and then you'll see like the guy gets in the person's face and the smaller guy or the guy who was so chill a moment before like punches him and knocks him out. And it's almost like you realize then like, oh, this guy was never scared. This guy was never like not sure of what to do. He just knew his power, and that's why he was so chill and confident and cool. And it almost gives me that vibe, like I'm seeing a king on their throne and they're not reacting. They're just so calm, but that's because they know their own power. And I feel like you have this incredible strength and power within you that as soon as you choose to activate it, it's going to be like, whoa, stand back. But a lot of people don't see that, and they mistake that. They mistake that kindness for weakness. They mistake you not acting or you kind of not fighting them as like, oh, you can't fight. Oh, you're a loser. You're too weak. You're scared of me. And they don't realize that like you're choosing to hold your power back. You're choosing to be kind and benevolent. So yeah, I get this vibe that there are people who are literally jealous because deep down on a subconscious level, they can sense your strength. They can sense your power. They can sense that you are spiritually evolved, and that bothers them. You literally have a destiny energy around you. Like I said, the first card I pulled was the sun. I feel like if you wanted to, you could have some huge platform. You could be a leader of some kind. You could accomplish a lot. And if you're like not doing that, let me try to block out because it is a really sunny day. It is super bright outside. So, but if you wanted to, you could completely like have some huge platform, accomplish so much. I feel like a lot of times you kind of hold your power back, and like people, they sense that and they're jealous and they're kind of mad about that. Okay, let's get into some tarot cards for you. Pile number 3. What tarot can we get for pile 3? So we got the 3 of Cups 3 of Cups upright, the Emperor reversed. That's what I'm saying. You guys aren't fully stepping into your full power that you could. Why does pile 3 live in people's minds rent-free? The 10 of Swords, the 5 of Cups, the Tower card. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Wow. The 2 of Swords reversed. Let's see. The World card. And let me get one more card for you for a couple more cards. The Justice. Ooh, I'm telling you, karma is so strong around you, pile 3. And the 8 of Swords, 3 of Pentacles reversed. So I think it's really interesting. You guys got so many negative cards. You guys got the 10 of Swords, or excuse me, the 9 of Swords, the Tower card, the 5 of Cups, 2 of Swords reversed, 8 of Swords. There's a lot of negativity around you. And this is where I also feel like, I don't know, it's part of your soul destiny or soul contract or something, but like you have part of it in your contract that you're supposed to like lose fake friends, or you're supposed to have people like show themselves for what they really are. There's supposed to be a time in your life when you lose everything, or you don't have any friends left, or you really look like you took a massive L and everyone around you is being like, oh, so I feel so bad for pile 3. Like they're such a loser, or they're, you know, they went through so much, or they lost everything, or they got fired, or they got broken up with. And there's supposed to be an energy around you where people really see you as someone that is kind of down bad and nothing is going good for them, and you're supposed to lose it all. Because the thing is you do have, some of you guys have families you were born into and they're deep down jealous hater snakes, or it's friends, but there's supposed to be a purging. There's supposed to be a getting rid of the fake friends and the people that don't have your best interest at mind, so you can build back better and stronger and only have people around you who actually support you. But that process, I feel like, is going to be painful. And you're supposed to have people who count you out. You're supposed to have people that don't know what you're doing, or think that you've lost it all, or think that, you know, you're doing so bad, because you do have such a power to you that you could actually attract a lot of predatory type of people. At a certain point, you're going to have to choose to turn that Emperor card upright and really step into your full power. I feel like people see this power and potential in you. They know that you're this Emperor reverse that's not fully acting in their full strength. They know that if you wanted to, you could have so much money and so much blessings and so much abundance, and you're choosing to not fully embody that. And there are people who just, they don't get it. They really don't get it, because if they were in your position, they would be using that power. And at a certain point, Spirit is going to want you to use that power. Spirit might literally be putting you in this situation to force you to use that power, and to force you to like let it get so bad to where you're like, I have no choice. I guess I have to shine my light out again. But yeah, that is going to be such an interesting process, because I feel like once you start embodying your light again and really claiming your power back, that's when you're going to have people crawling out of the woodwork. That's when you're going to have people suddenly wanting to be best friends with you again. And you really are going to keep people guessing throughout your life, pile 3. you're going to be that person that like doesn't post on social media for like months or years, and then when you do, you like announce that like you are engaged and you found the love of your life, or that you are you launched a business and it's really successful and you have a lot of money, or someone doesn't know but they find out by checking your LinkedIn or whatever. I feel like you definitely are someone that likes to, not brag, and you like to kind of play things a little bit close to the chest. But yeah, I feel like you definitely have this justice karmic energy, and there are people that it's almost like they're also keeping an eye on you because they just know your power. They know how smart you are. It's almost like if you were in a toxic workplace and you had coworkers that treated you bad, they check your LinkedIn, they would try to see what you're up to because they're like, I know they have the power to be so successful. I know that this is the kind of person that could open a business and make $1 million or $1 billion super fast. I know this is the kind of person who could find the love of their life and be with someone who's so attractive. I know this is the kind of person who can make magic happen, and people can sense this energy, this specialness, this difference about you. And honestly, they're just jealous because they don't have that themselves. They don't have this special little spark that makes them different and unique, and they wish they did. You do, pile three. So yeah, you're just gonna get, that jealousy. You're just gonna get those people that wish it was them, are mad it's not them. And, I feel like with the Three of Cups as well, you might literally have people who, it's almost like they feel like you're luring away their boyfriend, or if you're in a work situation, that they get jealous, feeling like your boss likes you more, or you shouldn't have gotten that promotion, or the clients like you more, and they're seething. The Three of Cups can be like a love triangle. So it can be someone who is jealous of someone in a happy relationship, or someone who gets more attention from their parent, or someone who gets more attention from the boss, or from the friend, or from guys in general, or girls in general. It's just like, it can definitely be that jealous energy of like someone intruding on, I wanted that, but now they're taking it. So just be aware of that. People sense how special you are, and that's why you're living rent free in a lot of people's minds. A lot of people know they've done you dirty, but they're justifying it. And they feel like they almost have to, because they're like, it's dog eat dog. It's a survival world. I have to survive. And they kind of feel like they need to stamp you out because you are so special and so talented, that they need to bring you down several levels and start making you question yourself, so you won't take that mantle and accomplish and become this world card energy that you absolutely can, where you check off all your, dreams and accomplishments. So yeah, there are people who are literally trying to hold you back from your destiny. Pile number 3. Let me clear these cards, and then we can get into some final oracle cards for you. Pile 3. So why does pile 3 live in people's minds rent free? Why does pile 3 live? Crown games, right? Use of power. I'm telling you, there are just people that they want your crown. Or if you're not taking your crown, they know that you could, and that's what makes them mad. They just know that, like, if you wanted to, you could fully claim that mantle. You could fully become that king. Also, joyful muse inspiration. I really feel like some of you guys have this incredible well of like creative gifts, intellectual gifts. Like I said, you could be that entrepreneur that opens a business that just becomes so successful overnight and is so inventive and so different and so unique. You are that person that really has that spark that differentiates you and makes you stand out. And there are a lot of people that wish they could be in your place. We got empty well, time to replenish. This one is lost compass, getting back to integrity. We also got netcaster, preparations come to fruition, mindful, group think, dragon's hoard, protecting the future, galactic mushroom, the divine matrix. So yeah, to me, what's coming through is really jealousy about the attention you get. We got a lot of cards that can be fame cards for me, or talk about the collective, like this galactic mushroom, mindful. So I feel like there are people that see how others respond to you. They see that you have this charisma. They see that you stand out in a crowd, that you're different, that you're special, and they're mad about that. They want it to be them. There are people that I feel like you're not a competitive person per se, pile 3, and you don't realize how competitive other people are with you. It just doesn't clock to you that they would resent you for having money, or they would resent you for having success, or you're like, but I was so good to that person and I want the best for them, and I'm like, I consider them a good friend, or I love my sister, why would she be a hater? I don't understand. And you don't understand that these people are in a scarcity mindset, and they feel like there can only be one. They feel like there can only be one success. They feel like you're going to take that and steal it from them, and so they are clinging onto it as hard as they possibly can. They feel like if they let you fully step into yourself and your power and your destiny, that you're going to leave them in the dust, and it's going to be so embarrassing for them. So that's why they're trying to sabotage that and not letting that happen. And they are definitely worried, like checking your social media, checking your page daily, trying to make sure that like you don't make some announcement like, yeah, I launched my own business and we're making so much money, yay, or I got promoted to president or whatever position, or I am in this amazing relationship and here's my hot sexy partner. Like, that is like a worst case scenario for them that would make them panic. A lot of these people, I really feel like they have tried to stamp out your light. And you don't understand how much they wish they could be in your place. You don't know how much they wish they could destiny swap with you, okay? So I honestly feel like for a lot of you guys, these are people you're probably pretty close to or you trust a lot. And just know it is not super reciprocal. And I think you're giving them, some of them, the benefit of the doubt because you're like, well, they are my sister, or they are my mom, or they are my dad, or my brother, or my ex-husband, and he should want the best for me. Or it's a coworker, but we're cool, or a friend. I feel like these are people that you're like, well, I don't hate them, and I want the best for them. So why are they hating? They won't hate on me. Like, we're cool and I'm nice to them. And you don't realize that they are mad at you because of your destiny. They are mad at you because of who you are. And they know you didn't do anything bad to them. And that makes them even madder, okay? They feel guilt. They feel shame about their behavior. They feel shame about their feelings. And they're trying to come up with something that they can use to justify it, or some reason why you deserve this. So they're already hating you. They've already made their mind up. You can't win them over. Just know that. And step into your destiny and flip that Emperor card fully upright so you can become the highest version of yourself, because that is what you deserve, and you shouldn't be holding yourself back or making yourself smaller to satisfy them. So that is what I have for you. Pile number 3. I really hope that resonates, guys. If it does, please let me know. I am really curious about this pile. I think there are a lot of people in these kinds of dynamics, but let me know if I was on the mark. Let me know if this is someone you are thinking of, who you might be close to, or who you trusted or trust still. And if this resonates, that like you have picked up on some jealousy from them, or if you think I'm off the mark, you can let me know too. I'm always open to any kind of feedback. But yeah, also give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications. And if you want to see more of my content, you can head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 150 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted readings all about what your boss and coworkers think of you, a spicier reading about their hidden desires for you. There's a spiritual reading I just posted, messages from spirit. That's kind of where I'm doing some of my more spiritual topics for now, but there is so much content, whether you want love, career, money, success, spirituality, friend, any topic you can probably find over on Patreon. So if you want to join me, go to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be focused on tarot, astrology, channeling, mediumship, a combination, whether you would like it to be pre-recorded and sent to your email, or live one-on-one on Zoom with me, short 30 minutes or long, full hour length. You get to really customize your time with me, so it's the perfect session for you. If that sounds good, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, Pile 4, welcome to your reading. Let's get into your cards and see why you're living rent-free in people's minds. Why are you living rent-free in people's minds? Okay, so we got storm warning, the sun, 4th chakra, Archangel Raphael, community, Door to personal healing and happiness and patience. The first thing I got is there is someone who doesn't have access to you anymore, and they miss that. They miss you being in their life. Spirit is telling me they're they're not humble enough to come to you and admit they messed up or to apologize, but they think of you quite often. They think of you a lot. And I feel like this person misses having you around. I'm hearing that they still laugh at inside jokes you guys had together or stuff you would say, like they still think about it and they feel very fondly to you. I feel like for some of you guys, this person couldn't step forward, or they're telling me like they feel pressure not to, possibly because of the presence of someone else in their life, someone that would be very mad if you guys were to talk, or they wouldn't like that and they would feel betrayed. But I feel like you definitely live rent free, and this person is thinking of you and missing you. Like I said, they miss your jokes, they miss your conversation, they miss having you around and like having your energy and laughing with you. And they also perceive you as having closed the door. They're saying you're the one who left, or you're the one who like blocked them, or you just wouldn't be open to that. And they know that. They know that if they were to like reach out, that you would be like, no, and don't call me again. Like, you know what you did. So they're just choosing, I don't want to say the cowardly thing, but they just don't want to put themselves out there in that way only to be rejected. They feel like if they do that, then, you know, that's just going to be a major L for them. And I feel like they definitely lurk looking at your socials. I feel like they definitely are watching you, and Spirit is also telling me this person may copy you actually, because I feel like they get very inspired by you. This could also not be just one individual, but it could be multiple, where you're like a trendsetter to people. I don't know if you guys, some of you may have Aquarius placements or Libra placements, but also Spirit is showing me Pisces placements. But I feel like you have like a very unique vibe to you. The way you dress, the way you carry yourself, the things you're interested in is always like ahead of the crowd. Also Gemini, I'm hearing, but ahead of the crowd in some way, like very different. You're very in tune with the collective. Like you're one step ahead before things happen in the collective, before a trend becomes adopted en masse. You're the one who's like aware of it. You're the one who's like knows it's going to happen and starts gravitating towards that just naturally. You have an eye for things, and there are people who know that, and they kind of want to watch to see like what you're doing and what you're up to, and they're very just curious about you. But yeah, I feel like this person with this storm warning card, I feel like some of these people, they're terrified of what you would say if they did reach out. They're terrified of the way you would be like, are you kidding me? You did blah blah blah. They're almost saying something like you have a temper. But I feel like a lot of it too is just like they don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to have that hard conversation. And I'm really strongly seeing this third party around that would be really mad if you guys were getting along, or if you guys were back in touch. So that's a huge reason why they feel like they can't step forward, is they're like, if we do that, like that's going to create so many problems in this other relationship, and they just don't want to jeopardize things. They're like, I don't think they would accept that anyway. And also this other third party would be so mad and would like block and freak out. So they are not going to go there. But I am feeling like this is maybe an old friend that you don't talk to, or an ex that you don't talk to. And they definitely miss like your conversations, your laugh, the sound of your voice, and just your energy. They're saying you guys got along on such a level, and like you could just vibe with them in a way that like almost no one else can. I also feel like with this patience card, what I'm getting is there are people who are lurking and watching you because they know you're going to be a big success. There are people who are lurking and watching because they feel like, I'm almost hearing something in my mind, like you're like a celebrity to them, where I feel like you do interesting stuff. Like you always have some lore going on. You always have some interesting story or new thing you're doing, or a new place you're going to, or a new place you're traveling to, or like a new friend or something different. And I feel like you have people who just like watch you, are interested, are intrigued. Like you feel like someone who's very full of life. Like you're not a bore. You're not like, your energy is not just the regular schmegular expected day in, day out, same thing. It feels like you have this different quality to you that really takes people by surprise. And you are always like going new places or trying new things. You're always kind of growing and reinventing, and you have this almost Sagittarian energy of exploration around you and being brave and trying new things. So I feel like you have people who kind of just watch you because they want to see what new thing you're on, and they want to maybe either copy you or just be aware. Like they don't want to be totally taken by surprise because they feel like you're changing all the time, and you are that kind of person that you could pop out with like a new marriage or a new fiance or a new business, or you move to some foreign country. Like you really are that person that like keeps people on their toes, and no one really fully knows what's coming to you, with you. Like you always feel like you're on some new thing 24/7 all the time. You're never stagnant or stuck. I also feel like with this door to personal healing and happiness, there may be people around you that they've seen that you've transcended and broken trauma bonds. You have transcended and broken dysfunctions that you were in, and they're kind of a little bit jealous, slightly inspired by it. They're kind of watching this almost perplexed, being like, how did they do this? How did they move away from like this traumatic energy? It could be an old relationship. It could be old friends. It could be old family members. But it feels like you were able to break some kind of generational curse or trauma or past life trauma. And you were like, no, I'm going to move ahead, and I'm going to be spiritual, and I'm going to go on this different path. I'm not going to stay stuck with you. And I feel like there are people watching you who are very inspired by that, and they're not quite sure how to feel about it. On one hand, they're kind of jealous and being like, wow, how did they do that? How did they manage this? And I haven't been able to. And then on the other hand, I feel like there are people who are very much, or it's like a mixed emotion, like the same person, but they're feeling a mix, maybe some negative jealousy, almost taking that personally, like a rebuke to them. And then also there's an energy around being very inspired and being like, wow, that is really cool. Maybe I could do something like that. I want to clear these cards though and get into a fresh deck for you. So let's go into this past life deck. Pile number 4. Why does pile 4 live rent-free in people's minds, Spirit? Why does pile number 4 live rent-free in people's minds? Okay, so we got longing for love, loneliness. Okay, Archangel Raziel. Why did I pronounce it like that? I don't even know. Inspiration, mysteries, Akashic records. Okay, too many cards at once, Spirit. We just want 1 or 2 at a time. Imprisonment, persecution, judgment, resourcefulness, education, and learning, teaching, intelligence, mental action, right thinking, caretaker. Ooh, okay. This is very interesting. Putting others first, and career history, job and work patterns, and one more card, explorer. Wow. I feel like this sums you up really well. And honestly, I feel like with this caretaker card, imprisonment, I don't know. I feel like some of you guys were the scapegoat in your family, to be honest. And I feel like you have people thinking about you who like, they're just shocked you've stepped out of that. They're shocked that you have not been willing to like stay under that vibe forever. They're shocked that you were like, I'm not just gonna let you scapegoat me and pretend I'm this horrible person for the rest of my life. Like, no, I'm not doing that. And I feel like you've inspired them in some way because you are this explorer. You are this very bold, brave person that's like gone off on your own and done your own thing. But there were people who were shocked by that because they kind of always thought you were going to be in this caretaker role, like this caretaker card, career history. I feel like you have had this pattern of like tolerating bad behavior. You've had this pattern of looking after other people's emotions more than your own instead of centering yourself. And this could be like a narcissist. It doesn't have to be from family, although it definitely could be. It could also be exes, but there are people around you that really got used to you being in this role of like caretaking someone else's emotions, putting yourself second, prioritizing them. And I feel like there are people who are just like shocked. It's almost like you just quit your job and now you're focusing on yourself. And I'm almost getting this sense of like, can they do this? Like, they're not allowed to do this though. Like, this is this breaks the rules, doesn't it? Like really not understanding how you can take your power back in that way, because it's almost like it goes outside the rules that they thought everyone was playing by. Like they thought you had to sit down, shut up, and tolerate it. And instead, you have kind of set off on your own and done your own thing and been like, no, I'm actually not going to tolerate it at all. And yeah, there are people that just are shocked and flabbergasted. Like they don't understand, how could this person say no? How could this person walk away? How could this person create their own destiny? They really don't get that. They thought you were going to put up with them forever. They thought you were kind of trapped into that position. I also feel like, if this was a narcissistic family system that you left behind, there are people who are looking at you, and for the longest time, they did scapegoat you. They did put you in the role of like the dysfunctional one, the loser, the person who has all these issues and is like crazy or is a weirdo or is just a bum or a drug addict or whatever they want to label you as. And then instead of you doing that, I feel like you claimed your own life, and you're kind of, to a certain extent, and this is your power, you're causing them to question the whole thing. Like there are other people who might have been outside, like not the narcissists themselves, but the flying monkeys, as they're called, the supporters, the people who just stood by and watched, and they believed the narcissist when the narcissist said, oh, pile number 4 is crazy, pile number 4 is insane, pile number 4 is the problem. And so they were believing that. And then you were like, well, let me show you. I'm going to walk away from the situation, and the dysfunction is going to persist. And now they've had to see that, and they are questioning a little bit. There is a part of them that's like wondering, did I make the right choice? Maybe pile 4 wasn't as bad. It's almost like you're not there anymore to blame all the problems on. So now they're having to like analyze things, and who knows what way it's going to go, but I feel like they can see that like you're not the problem. It's starting to dawn on certain people that like you have not been the issue, that like this giant issue that was holding everyone else back. That's just not the case. That might be wishful thinking and what they would like to be able to say, but it is not the case. So yeah, you took your power back in some way, and that's kind of caused the whole system to get upended, where there are people now seeing what's going on and really like in doubt about, well, do I even want to continue with this? Like, look how they're treating pile number 4. Look what they lied about pile 4 about, and I don't know, like it wasn't fully true. So in that sense, I think you're kind of waking people up and making them realize. I do get this vibe of like their higher self wanting to apologize, but their human self, one, being scared, or two, being like not 100% sure. Like there's a part of them that's like, no, but what if it's wrong? What if pile 4 is that dysfunctional, and they're still not 100% on board. So for that reason, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you reaching out, but I do think you have planted powerful seeds of doubt. Just know that you have started disrupting the system to a certain extent, and that is very powerful, pile 4. So yeah, let me clear these and we'll get into some tarot. Excuse me. And see why you're living rent-free in people's minds. Why is pile number 4 living rent-free in people's minds, Spirit? 5 of Pentacles. I keep getting, like, as I pull that card, I hear this phrase, get rich quick scheme. And I feel like there are people who sold like a bill of goods to someone, in the sense that like they may have totally blamed you and said like pile number 4 is the issue, pile number 4 is crazy, pile number 4 is full of drama, pile number 4 has all these problems. And I feel like they kind of sold this to, again, the other people, the flying monkeys, the supporters, the enablers, as like it's all their fault. It's all their fault. They're the issue. And so now that you've chosen to pull your energy back or remove it, or you're starting to do that, they're starting to see like, wait a minute, that wasn't the case. Like I thought they were the number one cause of all these problems, but they're really not causing these problems. they're not guilty of that. It feels like you've stayed strong in your own energy. Like you haven't folded and like begged to be let back in or pleaded or, you know, come back and just like allowed them to keep lying on you. Feels like you really went your own way and like removed yourself from the situation. And I feel like that has been a little bit of a wake-up call. Like it took a while, but there is this kind of dawning realization. Okay, so we got the Lovers, the Hierophant. Why is pile number 4 living rent-free in people's minds? Why is pile number 4 living rent-free in people's minds? The Queen of Wands, the Ten of Swords. Because I keep getting, you're supposed to be like, this is supposed to be you, pile 4. You're supposed to be like done. You're supposed to be over and defeated and like powerless now. And people can see that instead you've kind of formed your own power. Like you're good. You're not desperate. You're not sad. You're in your own energy. You're powerful. And people are like, really, it's creating ripples. People are seeing that. People are questioning, if pile 4 was such a disaster, how have they done so well for themselves? How have they had this success? How are they moving forward in their life with this Chariot card if they're really this problem person with so many issues? It feels like now you've also stepped into your power more with the Queen and Knight of Wands. Lots of Wands cards we have here, the Six of Wands as well. So people can see that like you're really embodying your own power. You might even be stepping into some financial success with the Nine of Pentacles. And yeah, there's a lot of people who can see this and they're starting to click in their mind that like you're not this totally psycho, like crazy person. I feel like there was a narrative around you for the longest time. And it's like they had to hold that narrative really strong. And also you might have been reacting to that and acting a little crazy because that would make anyone crazy. And so you've removed yourself from the drama. You've stayed no contact, or you've said, no, I'm not going to engage with this anymore. And you have people who, they can't blame you anymore. You know what it also could be with this Lovers card is like you could be the topic in one of your ex's conversations. I keep getting that like, you know how sometimes relationships can be built around like shared hatred of someone or solidarity against like the ex. Like it could be, you know, some toxic people, they love to triangulate. They love to bring in like other people to make one person jealous or tell them about like, oh, my ex was obsessed with me. Oh my God. They were always trying to text me. They'd always try to call me. And it can make someone, you know, be like, ooh, I got this real prize. Look, this guy is being pursued. His ex-girlfriend is obsessed with him. His baby mama won't stop calling him. Wow, lucky me. But I won the prize. And I feel like because you stopped engaging, or you were like, no, I don't want you, and you've made that clear, now the conversation isn't as fun. Because in the past, maybe you were texting like an ex of yours, and you were sending them like, I miss you, but you didn't realize that this person was sharing it with like another person to try to be like, see, she's obsessed with me. I mean, I don't know. It's because I'm really good in bed. And she just says I'm the best in bed. And so that's why. And crazy, like made up stuff. But I feel like this person was almost feeding off of this, pointing at you and being like, look at pile 4, look how into me they are, or they won't leave me alone, or they're crazy. And again, creating this narrative and almost people bonding, whether it was romantic, family, friend group, but people bonding around this shared like pile 4 is nuts. Oh my God, they're a psycho. And now you're like, I'm not a psycho. And if you think that, I'm happy to never text you or call you ever again. And they're kind of having to like scramble around and figure out some new lie, or figure out a reason, or figure out like what makes sense as far as why you are clearly not that interested anymore. Like, you know, because I feel like they were feeding off of that. They were feeding off this idea that like you were sitting around desperate. You know, you were a loser, you were crazy, you were dysfunctional. It could be that like you had an ex and they would always say like, look, this chick, she's still texting me. She was in love. Oh my God, she wanted to get back with me. And you had like the new girlfriend who's looking and being like, oh my God, yeah, she really wants you. and then you stop texting. Now you're in a new relationship and they don't have anything to talk about with that. And now instead of being able to look at you and bond over like the shared, like, oh wow, she wants you so bad, but we're bonding together in a relationship and we'll stand strong together. Now it's like they have to admit that like any problems they have are their own. And instead of being distracted by you and bonding over this shared like fight against you, they have to like talk about the problems in their relationship and like actually spend time with each other and actually look each other in the eyes. And I feel like there also could be like a person, the narcissist or the ex-boyfriend or whoever, who is also having to admit to themselves that like they do miss you and that those feelings aren't going away, and that if they used you to kind of distract their new relationship or to feed this kind of dynamic of like, oh, look at me, I'm so in demand, that like now they have to admit, yeah, I do miss Pal 4, and yeah, I would like to be with them, and yeah, this kind of sucks, you know. But they didn't want to admit that. They didn't want to admit it to themselves for the longest time. They wanted to lie and be like, I'm good. Oh no, I'm thriving. So now it's kind of a little bit painful for them having to be like, wow, I really bungled things with Pal 4, you know, and Pal 4 is like fully moved on. Pal 4 is not missing me. Pal 4 is not sitting around, as much as I may have lied and pretended they were. They're not sitting around desperate for me. That's something I made up, and I have to admit that now. Let's get into these final cards for you, Pal 4. Ooh, that one flew out. Okay. Why is Pal 4 living rent-free in people's minds? Why is Pal number 4 living rent-free in people's minds? So we got the crossing, initiation, dust devil, moving out of stagnation, deep quiet, meditation and stillness, fortune's wheel, luck and right timing. Okay. Why is Pal 4 living rent-free in people's mind? Vanishing mirror, ego sublimation, beloved, radical acceptance, and let's get a couple more cards. Caterpillar, opportunity, and moon maiden, new beginnings. I feel like, you know, with this fortune's wheel card, like there are people who can really see you thriving. They can really see that you are doing well for yourself, Pal 4. You're not desperate. You're not needy. You're not sitting by the phone. In fact, it feels like you really took your power back. You're focusing on building your own life. You're focusing on like creating the best life for yourself, and you are doing it. Okay. You are finding success. You are finding abundance. You are in a new relationship, or happily single, or traveling the world, or opening a business. Like you're not sitting by the phone at home down bad and crying the way they may have tried to make it out for the longest time. So yeah, I feel like you're living rent free in the sense of, you know, also this kind of dawning awakening of how good you're doing, and that you've moved on, that you're focusing on yourself, which for some reason these people never thought you would. It feels like there was a dynamic here that existed for a while wherein you were like begging for their attention, begging for them to come back, begging for them to be nice to you, begging for them to see you. And then at a certain point, you just got sick of begging and like bounced and left. And I feel like they never thought that was going to happen. Like they thought you were always going to be sitting around, waiting for them, desperate for them, needing them, wanting them, begging for them, needing and hoping and praying. And now you're just like gone. Like it feels like you never really said goodbye. You didn't give them some long emotional text being like, I'm never coming back. And just so you know, it just feels like you just left. You're focusing on you. You're doing your thing. You're building, you're growing, you're working. And they can see that. They can see this progress. They can see that like you're making things happen. You're creating new soul contracts, new soul destinies. You know, I always think if you are stuck in like a really dysfunctional twin flame relationship with someone, or you have people that you know they are connected with you from past lifetimes, but it's always been a dramatic, traumatic, negative relationship for you, you can cut those cords at any time, and you can choose or say to your guides, hey, I don't want to repeat another lifetime with this person, or I'm done with this dynamic. I'm done with the toxic trauma and whatever. Like, the trauma bond is over, it's done, it's dusted, and I want to create a new destiny and a new life for myself. And your guides can help you do that. Your guides can find you new people to live this lifetime with, or someone from several lifetimes ago, but it was like a positive vibe. You can, like, you have free will for this lifetime. You actually do. And you can tell this to your guides, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm over this lesson. I've learned it. And get these people out of my life. Get these negative soul contracts, get the trauma bond feeling of like, oh, I know this person from a past life, but it's negative. You don't have to. And I feel like you learned that lesson. And now you're seeking out new relationships, new depth, new intensity, but in a positive way. New people from past lifetimes, but like someone that was kind to you in a past lifetime, someone that you had a good vibe with, someone that supported you in a past lifetime. And you're really choosing to leave the toxic trauma and negativity behind. And yeah, these people can sense that. These people can sense the growth. They can sense the forward trajectory, the forward momentum. They can see that you are very loved or cherished or taken care of if you are in a new relationship, or you will be. They can sense that you're cherishing yourself. You're treating yourself with kindness, and you're not in this desperate, please love me, I'll tolerate anything kind of energy that you were in the past. So I just keep getting this vibe from a lot of them that they're very perplexed. Like, they're looking at you being like, wait, what? What's going on? Like, this person went way off script, because they were supposed to be begging me. They were supposed to be needing me. They were supposed to be, messy and sad and a loser, and I got to be the cool person. I got to be the cool, calm, collected, like above it all person who didn't really need them. And instead, they are thriving and they're good and they're living their best life. And how did this happen? Because they were supposed to be needing me and wanting me. And instead, I can tell that they've fed that energy back into themselves. So yeah, the energy I keep getting is just kind of like this confusion, like people checking in with you, but being like, huh? Like, what's going on? What do you mean? Like, they're not crashing out anymore. They're not throwing things anymore. They're not like losing their mind anymore. I thought they were supposed to be blowing up my phone and sending me 100 text messages in a row, and then I could laugh and block them and be like, well, they're crazy. But they're not doing that anymore. And they seem perfectly happy and sane. And I can't like get under their skin in the same way that I used to. So yeah, you have people that, they never thought you were going to move on. They never thought you were going to be thriving. They never thought that you were going to be happy and healthy and at peace and making healthy choices for yourself. And I just keep getting this very baffled, confused, like, is there a way I could trigger them again? Is there a way I can get their attention again? How did they find their own worth? How did they realize their value? When did this happen? And kind of hoping and praying you're going to backslide a little bit, hoping and praying that you're going to suddenly crash out again and, go back into an older version of yourself, an unhealed version of yourself, and expecting that, telling themselves like, yeah, they haven't changed, it's all an act, they're going to be back at any moment, and then realizing slowly that like that hasn't happened and it's not going to happen, and that they're going to be waiting a very long period of time if they want that to happen. So yeah, there are people around you that they never thought you were going to have this kind of growth. They never thought you were going to be able to build this kind of a life for yourself. And they are just not happy about that. So yeah, kudos to you for growing, Pile 4. Kudos to you for leaving this behind. So let me know if this resonated. Let me know if you can think of who this person is, and if they, if you did act different with them, if you were a crash out in the past, if you were someone who had a lot of drama or negativity around you and you've chosen to move past that and step into your soul growth work, into your shadow work. Let me know if this is a season that resonates for you, or there's someone in your life that kept you in this toxic narcissistic dynamic. I'm very curious about this, Pile. So please let me know how this resonated, or if it applies to you at all, or if it doesn't, that's cool too. Please make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe, and if you want to see more of my content, you can head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 150 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted readings all about what your boss and coworkers think of you. There's also a little spicy reading about their hidden fantasies about you or hidden desires for you. I also have a reading I just posted all about messages from spirit. That's kind of where I'm posting more of my spiritual content now, but there is so much content to choose from. There are love readings, career readings, money readings, spirituality readings, friend, family, lots of every kind of topic under the sun you can imagine. Like I said, over 150. So if that sounds good to you, then head to my Patreon. Link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. And if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be focused on tarot, astrology, channeling, mediumship, a combination, whether you want it to be shorter, just 30 minutes, or longer, a full hour, sent to your email and pre-recorded, or live on Zoom, you get to really customize your time with me, so it's the perfect reading for you. If that sounds good, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and book a time slot with me. And link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye.